Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is Sir Jedi Sentinel, and welcome back to Sentinel Reviews. Big finish time again, and today we are looking at the first story of the Fourth Doctor Adventures Series 8, The Sinestran Kill by Andrew Smith. One moment, please. That's better. I believe I said it once in one of my Big Finish unboxing videos, but just in case, I love the aesthetic of the covers with the alternate logo. I just love the aesthetic it presents, so whenever possible, I will do one of these with the alternate logo cover. Anyway, The Sinestran Kill, the first story of Series 8 of the Fourth Doctor Adventures. It was released in January 2019, and as I said, it was written by Andrew Smith, and it was directed by Nicholas Briggs. This story stars Tom Baker as the Doctor, Jane Slavin as Ann Kelso, and also features Frank Skinner, Glynis Barber, Ewan Bailey, Nicholas Kahn, and Leon Williams. So, yeah, this wasn't my favorite Fourth Doctor story. I still think that's the trouble with Drax, but this was a really strong story. And especially because it needed to be with what Series 8 was trying to do, which was give the Fourth Doctor a new companion outside of the show. And real quick, I just want to be clear again, I have not read books and comics, so I don't know if this was attempted before with the Fourth Doctor. And honestly, that's why I got Series 8. I was really curious about giving the Fourth Doctor a new companion. So, yeah, aside from that, what happens in the Sinestran Kill? Well, the Doctor detects alien technology that should not exist in the 70s being used. And while he's searching for it, he meets WPC Ann Kelso, who will become his new companion. Anne is a cop. And here's the thing, it's been brought up a couple times. It completely missed it. I completely missed this when I first heard about it, but yeah, a lot of people were talking about this because Yaz, the 13th Doctor's companion, is also a cop. This is purely coincidence. Like, the Fourth Doctor adventures are recorded 2-3 years in advance, so yeah, the timing of this was just pure coincidence. But yeah, in behind the scenes in December's issue of Vortex magazine, and even in the making of features for this, David Richardson talked a little bit about why the Fourth Doctor got a new companion, because in recording for Series 8, he realized, because Louise Jameson, Leela, was touring in a play, she was going to be unavailable to record. So yeah, this really was a decision born out of necessity, and I'm glad they went this route, because I feel like, especially with the Third Doctor Adventures Volume 3 coming out this year, which will feature the Brigadier and Liz Shaw, I feel like the only other option they would have been to recast Sarah Jane, and I feel like that decision would not have gone over well. So there's that. And on top of that, I really liked Anne. This, aside from being a strong story, was also a strong story for her. She was introduced, she had a good introduction. Her character was sort of explained very clearly. She has, how do I want to phrase that? As a cop, she has a high tolerance level for nonsense. Like, in one scene when she's traveling with the Doctor, spoiler warning, by the way, if I really need to remember to say that earlier in the reviews, because I also skipped over it in my antimatter review. But anyway, Anne has a high tolerance level for nonsense. Like, all this alien stuff is going on around her, and the Doctor, and she just really doesn't react to it. It's like, she basically tells this scene with the Doctor, she says, I feel like I should be shocked. And the Doctor replies with, "Are cops usually shocked?" And she says, "No." And he goes, "You're very level-headed. I like that." Anyway, the plot of the Sinestran Kill, boy, that got away from me, is that the Doctor is tracking alien technology to the 70s, where he meets Anne, and he meets this man named Tony Robinson, who these gangsters want dead. And now we're going to get into spoilers here, because what we have with the Sinestran Kill is two very different stories. Part one is sort of your typical witness protection gangster story, and then part two is a base under siege story. And I have to admit, it is one of the most blunt, straightforward base under siege stories that Doctor Who has ever done. Like, by comparison, I just watched the Moon Base, and even though it was a base under siege story, it was fairly unique in how it was done. Like, the points were all the same. Bad guys are outside, good guys are inside, bad guys are trying to get in, good guys are trying to hold out, but how the Cybermen tried to get in the Moon Base was very unique. There was a plague, it turned people into cyber zombies, there was all this nuttiness going on. And like I said, here, the base under siege story is just very straightforward. The aliens are assaulting a police headquarters. So, yeah, no, the fact that... and just to be clear, I'm not bashing on the story for that. I actually really liked it because I've seen a couple base under siege stories and they try to do it without just being blunt about it, and I just like this base under siege story that was blunt. Also, another thing I liked, like I said, with these two different stories, the whole gangster witness protection story and the base under siege story, they meshed together surprisingly well in comparison to, like, say, Day of the Doctor, where you had two separate stories. You had the Zygon thing, and then you had the Time War thing. Then those stories just did not fit together. Here, the two stories fit together really well. Oh, I skipped over that. One of the things I felt kind of didn't serve really good was that Anne's introduction to the TARDIS was kind of weak. Like, you know, they're basically... one of the gangsters comes into the shop to try and kill one of the side characters, and, you know, after the Doctor distracts them, they lock themselves in the TARDIS for safety. And Anne's... like I said, Anne's reaction is really sort of kind of weak. And personally, just because I felt the same way about the Marion Conspiracy, which is a fantastic story, I feel like a new companion being introduced to the TARDIS doesn't work as well on audio as it does on screen. I just don't think it does. Little fun nod for the continuity freaks out there. Sorry, I tried to find a nicer term, but yeah, continuity freaks is that while she's exploring the TARDIS, Anne trips over the K9 Mark II box. Because this story is set, actually all of Series 8 is set between the Invasion of Time, Leela's final story, and the Ribos operation, Romana Dvora Trelundar's first story. I just love that I know how to say her full name, and whenever possible, I'm gonna say it. And yeah, let's see. Aside from Anne's sort of weak reaction to the TARDIS, another point I have to take away was the side characters. As I said way back when I did my first Doctor Adventures review, and I really should have continued that series, I'm sorry. Maybe I will. We have a whole year of no Doctor Who, so maybe I will. The Great White Hurricane from the first Doctor Adventures Volume 1, in my opinion, has the best side characters of any Doctor Who story I've ever seen or listened to. And when I think about the side characters in Doctor Who, the Great White Hurricane is the standard I hold them to, and the side characters in this were really weak. I liked the police chief, the chief inspector. He did. Oh, I'm now forgetting what he said he did, but he had interactions with Unit before, and he knew who the doctor was, and I liked his sort of aggravation and annoyance at the doctor. It's like, actually, that was one of my favorite scenes in this story. After the police shows up after the botched attempt on Tony's life, he shows up and it's like, "Who are you?" The doctor introduces himself, and he's like, and he shows his unit credentials, and he's like, "Can we talk outside?" So the doctor, the chief, and Anne all go outside, and the chief sees the TARDIS and goes, "Oh, you're that doctor." Yeah, and it was a great scene. One of my other, but yeah, other than that, the side characters were really weak and one note. Like all the gangsters, they were never more than just your stereotypical gangsters. Tony had a surprising amount of depth to him, and that's spoilers, so I am trying to hold off before I get there. Although those spoilers lead right into one of my other issues with this particular story. Tony is revealed to be an alien in witness protection, and the Sinestrans have sent an empath, because the Sinestrans are an insectoid alien race. Nah, I lost my train of thought on that. And they want Tony killed, so they sent an empath to telepathically manipulate these gangsters into killing him. And that didn't work, so the alien they sent, which was not a Sinestran, revealed himself, and they really needed to work on the effects. Like, before I did this review, I listened to this story 3 times just to make sure I had all my thoughts in order, I knew what I wanted to talk about, and I could barely understand him. It was like the Discordia in Diary of River Song Series 4. Now that I think about it, even with the effects, he sounded like the Discordia. But yeah, it's just him and Tony in his alien form. The effects they used needed fine-tuning to make them better understandable. Also, at the end of this series, we find out why Tony was wanted dead, because he did work for the Sinestrans and he turned them in, but other than that, the Sinestrans have masters, and they wanted Tony dead, and when asked who they were, all Tony said was, "You mean them?" Which perfectly segues into this. Similar to Season 16, The Key to Time, and Season 23, The Trial of a Time Lord, on TV, or the various I Spy books that New Who claims are story arcs, Series 8 has an entire overarching story. This one is called The Syndicate Master Plan, the seeds of which were planted here in the Sinestran Kill. I feel it was a little clunky, it was a little clumsily done, but it worked well enough. Ultimately, like I said, while not one of my favorites of the 4th Doctor stories I've listened to, The Sinestran Kill is a strong story. It is a great introduction for a new companion. It is a strong start for this new companion, and I am looking forward to seeing where the rest of this series goes. In fact, I've already listened to the second one. But anyway, however, it is brought down by weak side characters, some poor effects vocally for some of the characters. I feel like there was... Nope. It is brought down by poor side characters and weak vocal effects for the alien characters. Ultimately, I'm going to give The Sinestran Kill an 8 out of 10. So, join me next time. Oh. I'll talk about that next time. So yeah, join me next time when we look at the second story of Series 8, where Anne will meet K9, and the Doctor will face a familiar monster, this time trading a carnival for a theme park, when he takes Anne to the planet of the Drashigs. Did you like what you saw? start a conversation in the comments. Tell me, what did you think? Like, comment, subscribe, and then click that bell next to subscribe to get notifications when I upload. I feel like I should stop doing the spiel on the rest of that. But this is Sir Jedi Sentinel, and I'll see you guys next time.